What if your entire life was the result of someone else's promise? What if the faith that brought you here now requires you to walk it out, without all the answers? That's the story of Isaac. And maybe it's your story too. Isaac wasn't just any child. He was the fulfillment of a decades-long promise. Abraham was 100 years old, Sarah was 90, and yet God came through. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, and did for Sarah what he had promised. Genesis 21:1. Isaac's birth wasn't logical, it was supernatural. But even when the promise arrives, the process isn't over. Not long after Isaac's birth, God asks Abraham to do the unthinkable. Take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and sacrifice him. Genesis 22:2. Wait, what? This was the promised child. The dream finally fulfilled, now God wants him laid down, but Abraham obeyed. Not because he understood, but because he trusted the promise giver more than the promise itself. And just as the knife was raised, God said, "Do not lay a hand on the boy, and now I know you fear God." Genesis 22:12. And God provided a ram, because God is not just a promise maker, he is a provider. Fast forward. Isaac grows up, and now he has to walk in the promise. But it's not easy. Famine hits. Fear rises, enemies fight over his wells. And just like his father, he wants to run to Egypt for safety. But God stops him. Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land I tell you to live. I will bless you. Genesis 26:2-3. No escape, no guarantees. Just trust. Isaac obeys. He redigs the wells of his father, yet well after well, despite constant opposition. But finally, now the Lord has given us room and we will flourish in the land. Genesis 26:22. The breakthrough came after the battle to stay planted. Maybe you're in a season like Isaac. You were born of a promise, Manoah, but now you're living in the pressure. You feel the weight of carrying a calling you didn't ask for. You've inherited dreams, but also battles. You're being asked to stay planted when everything says flee. Can I remind you? The promise isn't just about arrival, it's about becoming. Becoming someone who trusts God through the famine, through the conflict, through the silence. Someone who keeps digging, even when people keep filling in your wells. Because blessing doesn't come from running, it comes from remaining. Isaac flourished, not because the path was easy, but because he trusted God to lead him in unfamiliar places. He stayed, he sowed, and he reaped 100-fold in the same year, Genesis 26:12. So maybe God is saying the same to you. Stay where I've placed you. Dig even when it's dry, don't run, trust me. Because even when the promise feels silent, God is still working. And on the other side of your obedience is fruitfulness, not just for you, but for the generations after you. So keep digging, keep trusting, because the God of Isaac is the same God with you.